That's a good fish right there. There we go, girl. Woo, man.
Let's Take It Outside is brought to you by FishBrain, the world's #1 fishing app. Download it free now and start hooking up.
It's going to be so much fun in this episode of Let's Take It Outside, Bimini style. We're gonna go kayaking through the mangrove forest, visit the healing hole, something I've never done before. I can't wait to show you guys that. A place where Martin Luther King had visited when he was here in Bimini. Then we're gonna cruise over to the historic Sapona and snorkel. There's loads of reef fish, marine life, and it's just an historic wreck that has been there for, I don't know, well over 100 years. And then we're gonna take it up a notch and head over to Triangle Rock, where I'll be snorkeling with a few, hopefully friendly, black-tip reef sharks. We've just boarded the Balearia and we are headed over to Resort World in Bimini, the Bahamas. The Balearia is such a cool way to take it outside and go over to Bimini. You board this luxurious boat. It's almost like an airplane on the water. They have television, Wi-Fi. The bar is always open and we're gonna be there in less than 2 hours. Well, let's get this party started. It's hot out here and I'm ready to go wave running. Let's go.
We haven't seen anybody for 45 minutes.
I like
This is what's amazing. This is the other half of the Bahamas that a lot of people don't get to see, and I suggest you do it.
That was one of the funnest things I've done in Bimini so far. It was so great being able to go down and around the island. We found the road to Atlantis. We went on the backside. We saw nurse sharks, turtles, schools of fish. It was incredible. It was just a blast.
Let's Take It Outside is brought to you by FishBrain, the world's #1 fishing app. Download it free now and start hooking up. Minn Kota trolling motors, built to outlast, outmuscle, and outperform the most trusted trolling motor on the water. Humminbird Electronics with mega down and side imaging. Fish have nowhere to hide. Simply, clearly better. Bass Pro Shops, and Cabela's. Everything you need to take it outside under one roof. Are you ready to catch more fish and have the information that the pros use? Then download the free FishBrain app today. FishBrain provides you with the tools and skills you need to perform better every time you hit the water. FishBrain is the world's most popular fishing app. Whether you're fishing inshore or offshore, freshwater or saltwater, FishBrain has you covered. Catch bigger, catch better, fish smarter today. FishBrain.
The best of both worlds looks a little like this. Here, a morning of sunbathing transforms into an afternoon of flying. And a peaceful day spent kayaking is really an adventure exploring nature's theme park. Look at this! Could be anything from a cannonball in the pool to a rocket in the sky. So, what are you waiting for? Discovery awaits on the only beach that doubles as a launch pad. Florida's Space Coast. Only here.
Our children come from different backgrounds with different stories. They learn time-honored values like the importance of faith, hard work, and that an education is something no one can take away. They learn that respect begins with themselves and should be given to others. The Florida Sheriff's Youth Ranches, where kids learn, laugh, and dream with people who refuse to give up on them. With your donation today, we can give them a brighter tomorrow.
This episode is presented by Resort World Bimini. Discover the hidden gem of the Bahamas.
Good morning, everybody. I am here with Brian of Bimini Blue Adventures, of course, here in Bimini. And I'm really excited, Brian, because we're doing something here on Bimini that I haven't done before, and we're going to kayak over to the Healing Hole. Can you tell our viewers what we can expect and what they can expect on our trip today?
So on a trip to the Healing Hole, you would typically encounter, first and foremost, the beautiful mangroves of Bimini, where we see things like juvenile sharks, stingrays, turtles. You get to see a lot of like the marine flora and fauna, sea urchins all over the place. So if you guys are ever on a trip, don't step outside of your kayak.
That happened to me once. I'll tell that story later.
But going along, you will encounter as well the bust of Martin Luther King through like the beautiful waterways. It's been there since I think about around 1970. And then as you are going along, the waterways that are very narrow will widen out and you get the very beautiful sight of an area that we call East Wells. And it's a very nature-based place, mostly untouched by humans. And once you get a bit further out, it starts to open up towards the ocean where you see this tiny little opening. And from there, it's a trek into the Healing Hole, which is a mineral well, surprisingly, that has historic roots that they are saying are based in the midst of Atlantis.
Later on, we will also be filming what I call, and a lot of people, the road to Atlantis.
There you go.
We found it yesterday. Yeah.
You just found it yesterday?
Well, I know. We got to drive over it yesterday, and from what I understand, too, the mineral well is fresh water coming out into the salt.
It is fresh water. It's very loaded with minerals. There is sulfur and lots of zinc in there. And honestly, with the Healing Hole, you will smell it before you reach to it. Sometimes as you're walking into the Healing Hole, little baby sharks that actually swim around and swim through your legs.
Wow.
It just depends on the day. And the sight there is very beautiful.
Well, I'm excited. You ready?
I am.
Great. Let's go. This area with the mangroves in the background where you can just kind of almost, it seems like you can see forever. They say this is the exact spot where Martin Luther King had his epiphany, and it really inspired him when he was writing his speech, I Had a Dream, because he had spent quite a bit of time over here in Bimini prior to delivering that speech and putting his thoughts and his feelings together. And this is a really amazing place and magical where he drew inspiration from nature and from the Lord, I'm sure, to put that all together in something that carries on to this day, and I hope will carry on forever. This is phase 2 of heading into the healing hole. We have to ditch our kayaks, leave them up here against the mangroves, and we're walking in. Yeah.
All right, you guys all.
Okay, we're going. I've always wanted to come visit, and we finally made it.
There are like testimonials around the internet about people that have come here and completely gotten rid of their psoriasis and stuff like that. So it has a lot of rich history behind it. Aside from that, honestly, I think people just come here for the mysticism behind it, and maybe if they do some human sacrifices, we may find out a bit later.
After an awesome day of kayaking out in Bimini, this is what we do. A little bit of fresh conch salad, cold drinks with friends. Cheers.
What lies beneath can no longer hide. New Mega Imaging Plus uses high-frequency sonar to show you fish and structure up to 200 feet below your boat and 200 feet out to either side. No more secrets, no more guesswork, just a clearer picture of the world below, down to a fish's species and direction. Because more detail means more of this. Only from Humminbird.
Shepherd's world-famous entertainment beach resort is the ultimate Florida getaway. Located directly on Gulf waters, you can't get any closer to paradise. Immaculate rooms boast ocean views and high-end upgrades. Shepherd's famous entertainment pleases the whole family, offering water sports, fine dining, live music, a nightclub, and much more. Come visit Shepherd's world-famous resort and experience it for yourself. Hi, this is Misty, and I want you to win big this season. Scan the QR code you see on the screen, text the word TV, and you're entered to win charters, vacation stays, rods, reels, and apparel. Follow us on social media for the weekly winners. You're invited to come visit the Alligator and Wildlife Discovery Center located at historic Johns Pass, Madeira Beach, Florida. The center is home to over 250 animals. Our Discovery Center provides a place for education and conservation. Don't worry about the Florida weather. Our entire center is indoors. Have you ever wanted to feed a sloth, pet a pig, or kiss a gator? Come visit us at the Alligator Wildlife Discovery Center. Visit kissagator.com for more information.
So what do we do now, Brian? I'm so excited.
So we're going to be snorkeling at the Sapona Ship Wreak, which is over 102 years old actually, and it's been here since like the early 1900s. Nowadays it's a giant artificial reef, so we're going to see some nice reef fish going around, maybe 1 or 2 turtles over on the eastern side, and we're also going to be able to snorkel through and around the ship itself.
And I'm ready to get wet. It's hot out here.
Coming to the Bahamas for years, and I've come to Bimini many times. I have never done the Sapona, and blew me away.
I was really glad to be able to share that with you because
Blew me away.
you get to do a lot of things in the outdoors, and so do I. So there's, you know, very rare when there's something I'm taking you to go do that either we haven't done together already or that you haven't done. And it's cool. I mean, like you said, when we
Amazing.
pulled up, you're like, it looks like a ghost ship. And it's been so many things, and it has such a rich history. It's more than just a snorkel point for the island of Bimini.
It's almost a sanctuary there. When you put on your mask and snorkel and you go in, the diversity of marine life, from sea turtles to
So many
all the little
turtles.
tropical
It was
fish
awesome.
and
Yeah.
everything, and then you've got your soft corals, your hard corals, and just all the gorgonians and sea life was just absolutely phenomenal.
Beautiful tropical
Yeah.
fish and just all the colors. And, you know, I was saying to Tommy, I just said, I don't know how many colors of blue I can find in Bimini because it's just unlimited.
It is.
It is.
Absolutely.
I mean, in the water, in the sky, underwater, it's just really incredible. And the Sapona, no matter how many times I go back to that, I always see something
Amazing.
new. I just love it.
Absolutely.
Love it. Now it's time to get wet and swim with the fishes.
Well, I got a little spot I like to call Triangle Rocks, where all the reef sharks hang out. So that'll be a lovely spot for you guys to interact and kind of feel life on the edge. And we're gonna feed some stingrays.
Okay, I
on a
can do that.
beautiful crystal clear beach. It's gonna be lovely.
I've never hand-fed a wild nurse shark or stingrays like this before. You do not hand feed them, you just drop it to them when it's the shark.
Good boy.
How cool is this, Tommy?
This is absolutely amazing.
This is so amazing! As soon as we pulled up, you could see like the stingrays coming in. They're like, "Ooh, they're here!"
Yep.
You know, so that was really cool. And yeah, of course, you're a little apprehensive at first, kind of getting in the water and interacting with them because you want to make sure they want you there. You know.
But then when they get comfortable,
Right.
then the sharks come.
Yeah, then their other
The nurse
buddies
sharks.
come.
Nurse sharks are cool. I've never seen it in my life. They
Yeah.
swim up to you in the shallow water, and they sit down on their tail, and they stick their
They're
head
kinda
out of the
sticking
water.
their head out.
And they're just waiting for you to feed them like a
Kind of
puppy.
like a treat.
Yeah. And then you throw them
Yeah.
a piece of squid, and then you can pet them on their head, and they just sit there with their head out of the water.
And you know, once you get into it, you're like, okay, I can get submerged, I can hang around. They're just
Yeah.
swimming around you, bumping into you, going between your legs. It was a lot of fun. We've got all the stingrays. There's a school of jacks that came in. Not wiggling my fingers right now.
I'm wiggling mine to call them.
This is incredible.
from big game to bottom fish, the catch and release movement is catching on, and King Sailfish Mounts has been there all along. King Sailfish Mounts empowers anglers to celebrate their prize catch with no harm done. If you know the species and approximate size of your trophy fish, you can order online. You can also send us your photos and our artists will handcraft your mount down to the finest detail. Choose from the 175 species of game fish on our website. We're not just a fishing mount company, we're a conservation company. King Sailfish Mounts.
So, you want this, but you can't have it without this, or this, or this. Until now, introducing a new way to travel, intranationally. Get all that international charm without ever leaving the country. Right here in St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Get all that culture, all the cuisine from that culture. You're welcome. All the gram-worthy sites from that hashtag culture. It's right here at home. St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Travel intranationally.
Let's Take It Outside is brought to you by Hilton's Real-Time Navigator, the technology you need to catch more fish and use less fuel. Fisherman's Ideal Supply House, St. Pete, Florida, family-owned and operated, your one-stop boating and fishing shop. Penn, superior quality and designs. Get ready for the battle. High Standards 4x4, Lakeland, Florida. You perceive it, we achieve it.
To take it offshore. Devon here with Bimini Blue Adventures is taking us fishing today. What's the game plan?
Well, the game plan today is we'll be heading south of Gun Key to do some good fishing, some bottom fishing, about 60 to 50 foot of water. We're looking for yellowtails, groupers, queen triggerfish. We're gonna probably get some mutton snappers.
My favorite.
That's the game plan for the day. Probably a good sized mackerel. Let's do it then.
Let's do it. Now we just dropped in some chum. We're gonna try and chum up the yellowtail, hopefully some mangrove snapper, mutton snapper, stuff like that off this reef, and we'll see what happens. Tommy and I both fish, and I love fishing, and love fishing in Bimini. The guys had a couple days before put out some fish traps, and a little bit easier than rod and reeling sometimes, let's face it. So, you know, it's like pulling stone crab traps, and you know, you and the guys are like pulling up the traps. And in one of them, I mean, one of my favorites, huge mutton snapper, which was on my list to catch. Yep. I just didn't know I was gonna catch it in a fish trap. Yep. So that was super cool. Yeah. The guys also have some, what we call lobster condos, that's what we call them. And the guys were able to dive down, and you're a free diver, I'm not that good at it. It was about 20 feet deep, so a little, you know, a little too deep for me, but it was so
in my
cool.
comfort zone, that's for sure.
To see the guys just pulling out the lobster, some big ones too. You know, of course, we let the little ones go.
When you come here to the Bahamas, in the Bimini, I mean, you can go with the locals and go get you a nice dinner, a fresh dinner, and they clean it and they can take it to the local restaurants and the places and have them cook your catch for you here. And I'm gonna tell you, there's no fresher seafood than when you come here and you're a part of getting it yourself.
In an hour. Bucket list item, dinner, check. We just pulled up to Triangle Rock now, and there's already some big black-tip sharks swimming around. Tommy's getting a little bit nervous.
I'm getting very nervous. I just looked over and saw like an 8-foot shark swim by.
We're really just going to observe and basically swim, you know, in open water with these sharks. Are you ready, Tommy?
No, I'm not ready at all. Right? I'm so scared. a real big ladder.
Yeah.
And that's the ladder that people get in and out of the water with. And I felt comfortable climbing down that ladder and holding onto that ladder.
Yeah.
As soon as I put my face in the water, there were 5 sharks
all over the place
around us. And then one came from behind me under the boat and came up and around. And
you were a little
I never even seen it.
concerned.
And I got concerned. And I'm not gonna lie, I hung onto that ladder for a while.
There's not many places in the world where you can really get in the water, swim with these sharks safely, and you know, get back out and make it home with all your fingers and toes.
I came home with all 9 of mine.
It's really nice to be back in Bimini. It's one of my favorite places to come. And what a surprise, too, with Resort World. I mean, the marina, the hotel, all the different restaurants. The casino was a lot of fun.
Casino was a lot of fun.
Yep. I really enjoyed myself in there.
Yes, you did.
I think, honestly, every single day, you could do something different here in Bimini.
Just everything that they have to do here at Bimini Blue and their activities just blew me away.
It just is an experience I'm never gonna forget.
Never.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Bimini Blue Adventures when you want to take it outside. Bimini Blue Adventures when you want to take it outside.
And we are taking it outside, Resort World.
Well, it's not just...
Phase 2 of our, I keep wanting to call it the honey hole. Okay, I'm starting to get.
So go ahead. No.
All right.
Oops.
You. Okay.
Bimini Blue Adventures when you want to take it outside. We better do it again.